Alright, so I have here a water heater. It's a gas, and you can see this is natural gas running. This water heater was installed in, I think it was 2012. I forget exactly what date it was. It was, I think during 2012. I was actually the one that installed this thing, so let's actually look at it. Blah blah. There's the heater line, the pipe coming out. I got some insulation on the in and out to help keep the this thing kind of separated to help keep the heat in, so it's a little bit more efficient. So there's the inline, and this is a safety thing right here where you have the grounding wire. You connect to the water pipe, to the down to the gas line. So there's a clamp in there to use. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but it's in there. It's down in there. It's the gas line. It's clamped, so that's for grounding. That's a safety thing. Got my overflow. Pressure relief, I should say. You dunk it right into the base here, and it comes out basically outside. So anyways, so it's been quite a few years since I last checked the anode on this thing. So you should check the anode every now and again. But also you should flush the water heater out, because sediments do build up, and it builds up on the bottom. So what that does is that as it builds up on the bottom, the sediment builds up on the bottom, it forms an insulation. So because the heater, the flame is coming from the bottom, and that heats up the water, right? But when you have sediment in there, that acts as an insulation, so it makes it basically less efficient. You're wasting more fuel to heat up your water. So I think in the owner's manual they always say to flush the water heater every 6 months, but it's been actually a couple of years since I last did this. So let me do it now. So I like to use a white bucket because I actually like to see the sediment that comes out. That way I can see if it's how clean it is. So I usually do this until it clears out. So sometimes if you do it often, you probably only need like one bucket, and it's more than enough. If you do it not very often, you will need several buckets, and sometimes you will never get anything out because you waited too long. So basically I have a hose, basically a garden hose connected right here, and all you need to do is just turn this valve here, spin this valve counterclockwise to loosen it, to open it up so let the water come out. So the water pressure is still on, and you want it to be on because you want the water pressure to be on because it will help agitate the sediment. If you turn off the water pressure, nothing agitates the sediment, so that way it doesn't come out as readily. So I'm gonna turn on this valve. This water obviously it's going to be hot. The folks that are doing this, be mindful of that. So let's see how clean or dirty this thing is. This water's pretty clean. Looks pretty clean to me. Right now, all the dirt that you see is actually the dirt you see when the hose is getting hot. All the dirt you see is actually dirt that was already in the bucket. So actually, this is pretty clean. Looks pretty clean to me. Lots of times you see lots of particles and such. Sometimes you see a little bit of rust. The water can be a little bit red. So this one actually surprisingly looks really clean. Very clean. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised. So I'm gonna go dump this and dump it in a, dump it in the garden or something. That way you don't waste the water. Well, yeah, looking at it, it looks very clean. I don't see any real dirtiness to it at all. So that's good. So I'm gonna call it good. So I'm not gonna worry about it. That's good there. All right. One other thing that you should do, and I'm gonna do after I turn off the water pressure. So that's clean. So I'm gonna turn off the water pressure. So obviously the water pressure is up. The valve is up here. Here's my water in, right into the heater. So the valve going perpendicular to the pipe means it's off. On a ball valve, it is in line with the pipe, that means it's on. So right now it's off. Actually, I shouldn't have taken that hose off. I wanted to empty a little bit more of the water out. Let me do that. Empty a little bit more out. Or actually, not empty out, but just release the pressure, I should say. So, because right now the tank is still pressurized, even though you turn off the valve, there was still pressure when you turn it off. So there's still pressure. So I'm going to release the pressure because I need to check my anode. So you see it's not gushing out like it was before. So my valve is open, but it's not gushing out. It's just loosening it out. So that's whatever water's left in the water heater and the pipe itself, the pipe to the house. So this point, where the hose coming out, the valve coming out, is a little bit lower than the rest of the line in the house. So whatever water's in the house is gonna, if someone opens the faucet or something, the water will actually come out and drain out from here. So nothing coming out. So I'm gonna leave it there, set it aside. Set it aside, not worry about it. So it doesn't fly everywhere. Okay, so now we can check my anode. So the last time I did this, the last time I checked the anode, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but I also when I took out the original anode, I think I changed the original anode once. So this the anode that's in there is the replacement anode, and this water heater was put in, I think, back in 2012. So this is a 4-year water heater, 4-year warranty. So how the water heater, how it lasts as far as its warranty, some years it's like 4 years, some was 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. And that warranty is actually based on the anode. And what an anode is, and I have one out here, right here. This is my anode right here. So that's the anode. So what an anode is basically a sacrificial rod. Because the water heater, even though the inside is lined, it's a steel tank, but it's lined with be some type of ceramic lining. But not the whole ceramic thing is completely sealed off, as far as sealing off the steel, because somewhere out in there's going to be some steel that's exposed, or maybe the ceramic might have cracked over time or whatever, and it's exposed to steel, and that will rust out the tank, right? So what they do is they put an anode in there, and the anode, instead of the tank corroding and oxidizing, the anode corrodes and oxidizes. So the anode is usually made of aluminum or magnesium, and the reason why the anode corrodes before the steel corrodes is it has to do with electrons. Basically, you think about water, for example. Water is basically oxygen and hydrogen, and there's a bond. There's a electron bond between oxygen and hydrogen that makes up water. So when things rust, like steel, which is iron, when it rusts, what happens is that the oxygen will bond to the iron to make iron oxide, right? Basically rust. So there's that electron bond. So with the case of the anode, the electron will or the electron bond will, the oxygen will actually want to bond to the anode, you know, more than the, you know, to the aluminum or the magnesium more than the steel, because the bond, you know, the bond between the oxygen and aluminum and magnesium is a little bit easier, basically easier to bond than it is for the oxygen to bond to iron. So whatever oxygen that goes in here that you know, that wants to oxidize the steel, instead of oxidizing that, it will oxidize the anode. So the anode will only last so many years before it basically wears away. And so part of the flushing system, when you flush the pipe out, is that some of that material that oxidized in the anode will crumble up and then fall down, and it ends up on the bottom of the tank. So when you open this up, it helps flushes that stuff out, that gunk out. So the anodes only last so long. So basically, like this tank, for example, is a 4-year warranty tank. So meaning that the anode will only last, you know, basically about 4 years, or actually a little less than 4 years, before the tank starts to rust and you know, and leaks, right? So every once in a while, you need to check the anode and make sure that's okay. If it's not, it needs to be replaced. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. It's been a couple years since I last checked, so I need to see how the anode is. Let's see. So I have my valve open there, so I'm good there. So I actually need to go up and look at where my valve is over here. Actually, let me turn my heater low. I'm just gonna turn it to the low setting. Actually, I should turn it to vacation. Oh, that's pilot lighting. Yeah, I just turn it to the lowest setting right here. Oops, lowest setting, which should be fine. Let's see. So on the top of the water heater, you're gonna see like little plugs like so. One of these plugs will be where the anode is. It's usually something a little bit bigger. This one's kind of small. You see the plastic surround is kind of small. This one over here, that one's kind of small. But if you look at the back here, this one, see how the plastic is bigger? That's where my anode is. Lots of times, the top of this, where the nut is, it's covered in foam, in insulation foam. So you have to break the foam apart. And some tanks, you know, like if you have like a 12-year warranty tank, it will have 2 anodes. That's the reason why it's 12 years, because with 2 anodes, it'll last even longer. The anodes will last even longer. So that's why it's 12 years. This is only 1 anode tank, so it's 4 years. And you know, again, depending on the size of the anode, how big it is, you know, how long it will last. So I have 2 sockets here. So it's gonna be one of usually the water heater anode is one of 2 sizes. Usually either a 15/16 or a 1/116. So I'm gonna try one of these. Let me try the 1/116. Oops. Let's see if that's too big or not. And that looks like it fits. Or it might be just because the plastic is kind of tight. Let's try the 15/16. Nope, 15/16 is too small. Okay, so it's the bigger one. It's the 1/116. I'm gonna use that. Put the other one aside. And I have here a my little square drive 1/2" impact driver. Okay, put that on. Put that on. Set it to turn off. Set it to a high impact. The side of my tank, I have the original length anode. It's 39 inches. What you want to do, if you want to figure out, you know, you could put actually a longer anode in here. And that's what I have here actually. I have a 40, what is this, like a 44 inch anode. And what you want to do is that you don't want the bottom of the anode down here. You don't want the bottom of the anode to touch the tank. You want it to hover above the tank. So that's one consideration you have to think about. Do not have the anode touch the tank. So what I did after I took the original anode off, the 39-inch anode off, was that I actually took a measuring tape and I stuck it down that hole. And I stuck it down that hole until it touched. And I saw you know. So from the point where it touched, I gave it a couple inches, and that's how I came up with being okay with using a 44-inch anode, because if the 44-inch anode sticking in, let's see, let's say it's like so, let's say it attaches like so, and it gets pretty close to the bottom. I'm probably only a couple inches away from the bottom. As long as it doesn't touch, that's the key. If it touches, the sacrificial how it works, it diminishes and it doesn't work as well. So make sure you don't touch. So I have my pressure already opened up, so I won't squirt out hot water at myself. So that's very important. Here. Wow. Okay, this thing is not strong enough. Let's see. I'm on removing. I need to get a stronger impact driver. Woo, Jesus. Okay, that's not strong enough. I'm get my stronger impact driver. This is my weaker one. Oh, my ears hurt. Okay, I'm gonna get a stronger one, and this video is getting kind of long-winded. Let me go and get the stronger impact driver and start a second video.